Hello, this is video 4 that I'm about to do. This is in the series of living and fighting cancer. So as per the first 3 episodes, I'll be in this episode talking about my experiences thus far. So video 4 is about the start of September 1st when I came back to Australia to seek treatment for my small cell lung cancer stage 4 diagnosis that I got. So I get off the plane, which was a 8 to 9 hour journey in excruciating pain towards the end. They had to wheel me out in a wheelchair from the plane to the baggage area, and got someone to help me get the suitcase. And I'd already pre-organised with a friend, ex-work colleague, to pick me up because, as previously stated, my vision was terrible. Back in August, I went permanently blind in this eye, and I've got limited vision in this eye. That's why I'm wearing these bifocals. The bottom section enable me to read, and the top section give me some form of extended vision in my left eye. So my friend meets me in the whatever section of the airport. It's a bit emotional. One, because we hadn't seen each other for a long time, and he got to see what I look like, and I was just emotional about being back. So he takes me to the hospital, the emergency, and as I mentioned in the previous episode, that I found if you've been out of the country, this is Australia, for 5 years or longer continuously, you've got to reapply for Medicare, and apparently it's a very fiddly and painful process to get Medicare again. So I'd been out of the country for 4 years and 10 months. I didn't have my card or number, but the guy that picked me up got that information for me, so I at least had a number when I walked into the emergency. And I discovered this: if you've been out of the country for 5 years, you basically have to reapply for Medicare. And if you don't have Medicare or private health, I should say, you've got Medicare in this country. But if you don't have that, you're screwed. So luckily I had Medicare. Anyway, went through the process of giving my details to the guy on the front desk, and I got seen very quickly by some nurses, I guess because of the health condition I was in at the time. So I go to one of the back rooms there in the hospital, the downstairs in the emergency area, and they ask me a series of questions just to establish what's going on health-wise. And then I provided some form of documentation that I had from the Philippines in regards to diagnosis, where they believe I was at health-wise, etc. So they had a quick look. They effectively said, look, we'd like to do our own tests just to get a better picture, which I was more than happy for them to do. And look, they were super efficient. My whole experience with this hospital was nothing but just, I won't say pleasure, but good things, right? They were efficient, they were compassionate, they listened, and they tried to do their best in every single area. So I underwent, now I'm going to say, it's hard for me to remember every detail because I don't have a photographic memory, right? So I'm going to try my best here. So they did their blood tests, x-rays. I remember doing a CT scan. no MRI at that stage. Can't remember any other tests thereafter. So the results didn't take too long. A doctor comes in the room thereafter. The nurses come back and he's mulling over the results. I think the nurses had left actually at that stage. And I go into a different room in the emergency. They put me on a bed there. Doctor's there. He's a young doctor, Dr. Hamish. The guy that had picked me up, he was there. And I do remember another friend came along afterwards, a very, very close friend of mine. He was in the room as well. And while I'm laying there, I see the doctor having a bit of a look at the paperwork, and in a sort of, not a joking sort of manner, but not overly serious, I ask him, so how do they look? What's the outcome? How long have I got? And his response was 3 months or less. And I just couldn't handle that answer. So I got insanely upset, started crying. And from memory, I asked him, is that right? Or something along those lines. And he confirmed, he said yes and nodded his head, and even he looked sad. So you can imagine how I'm feeling. I've just come off a very long flight. It's probably about 9-10 a.m. I'm really, really sore all over because the cancer had spread to my bones at that stage as well. It was in the lungs everywhere. I've got terrible vision because I've gone blind in my right eye, and left eye is no good. Also, I hadn't been to the toilet to clear my bowels for 10 days plus. I was 25 plus kilos lighter than I was a few months before. I was struggling to breathe because I was choking on saliva, my breath, etc. I was yellow, gone septic, etc, etc, etc. It wasn't good. So they kept me in that room for a little while from memory, and then they took me up to level 8, which is the cancer ward. And I don't think it was the same day. I think it may have been the following day. An oncologist walked in, a female, and she's still my oncologist to this day. And I will say this, she's absolutely incredible. She's just got the best attitude, and I really like talking to her. She's incredible. So she walks into the room and she saw that I was really upset, and she asked me what's the matter, and I told her about the what that Dr. Hamish had told me, and she basically said, don't listen to these guys, right? She tried to put a positive spin on it. She said, don't listen to that. She goes, just trust me, do what I say, I'll get you right. And little did I know that she was spot on. So I'd been in there for a little while in the hospital. Can't remember how long, could have been a week or so. And then they started me off on chemo. So the first session was coming up, and I was actually excited because I didn't know what to expect, but I thought finally get some treatment. So I go into a different section of the hospital to do chemo. So they insert the cannula into your arm, and they give you, I think, saline to start with, and then they give you the chemo liquid. And the chemo liquid's in a dark bag. For some reason, it can't be exposed to light. So I do that, and that's about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, something like that. So I thought everything's fine, everything's good. Done my first session. You do 3, so over a 3-day period, and then you have a few weeks off, and then you repeat the process, generally 3 times thereafter. So I just finished my first session, everything's good. I go back to where I'm staying on the level 8 cancer ward. Fast approaching 9 p.m. Something's not right. I can feel my stomach just in a fit of pain, and it's not getting any better, it's getting worse. And I thought, here we go, this is pancreatitis again. And sure enough, I was right. It is the most painful illness you'd ever want to experience. I can tell you that, because I've now had it twice. I had it once in the Philippines, and this time in the hospital in Sydney. And it got to a stage where the pain was just relentless. It was absolute agony and torture. I couldn't sit in the bed, couldn't lay in the bed. I was actually on the floor. I was screaming, I was shouting. Towards the end, I was asking the doctors from the pain management team, which was I think the second team that came and saw me, that, can you please end my life? Give me paperwork to sign. I just can't do this anymore. They said, we're not allowed to do this. They kept pumping me with morphine. They gave me more than I think they should have, but they wanted to help me out, right? So I'm not having a go at them. I vaguely remember 3 a.m. and then I passed out. And I don't know if I passed out from the pain or the volume of morphine or whatever it may have been. I wake up, I don't know what time it is. It's on an operating table. I speak to the doctor there that was standing near the bed, unaware of what had happened, and he basically told me they had to install a stent inside me to relieve the pressure on the organs caused by the pancreatitis. It was near the bile duct area from memory. And the other thing, which I guess I can laugh about now, they also installed a catheter in my old fella, so my dick, which is quite awkward, these catheters. If you want to walk around, you've got to pick the thing up and transport it with you. But the most difficult part of that device is getting it out. Now, I didn't get it out in the first go. It took 2 goes. It's extremely painful as well. Very, very painful. So, not long after, they take me back to where I was staying on level 8. And they said, look, we're not going to continue with this session of chemo. You need some recover from this, etc. I don't know how long I stayed for thereafter. I had a few other issues along the way. I can't remember exactly what, but I do know that I did. And then ultimately they said, look, you can be treated as an outpatient because you're okay to the stage where you don't have to occupy a bed for too much longer. Because I was utilising the public health system, so it's understandable. But I had to be in the care of someone, like a family member. So one of my family members that came to visit volunteered, but didn't live in Sydney, lived in Hobart, Tasmania. So I went down there with her, and I was under her care for approximately 5 months. So that was a very interesting 5 months. And I continued my chemo in Hobart, and I encountered some other issues there health-wise as well. So I'll get into that in another episode. I want to try and keep these episodes under 20 minutes, right? I don't like myself watching anything long either, because they become less interesting the longer they go. So that's what happened from the 1st of September 2023. I guess if you're going to take anything out of this episode, and you're planning to go overseas for a long period of time, just be careful. Anything over 5 years, you'll have to reapply for Medicare, and it's a pain in the ass apparently to get that again. And as usual, if you feel anything wrong with your body, only you know your body, and you know it better than, if you were to ask someone, do this, do that, you know yourself if there's an issue, right? Don't hesitate, don't prolong it. Go get checked out, right? For the sake of half-hour visit to a doctor, it's better to nip certain things in the butt before they become more serious down the track, potentially. So thanks again for tuning in, and I will see you guys in a day or two for the next episode, which will be my experiences in Hobart, Tasmania. So thanks, have a good day, and catch you later. See ya.